beg you, my queen, take leave of this place while you're still able.
To where, I might ask? Nigh every last of Cornia's lords has forsaken us in favor of the traitor Valmor.
Vanillaware is finally back with another modern 2D classic. From the people that brought you Odin Sphere, Muramasa, Dragon's Crown, and my personal favorite, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, comes Unicorn Overlord, a nostalgic return to the retro fantasy strategy games of the 16 and 32-bit era. As somebody who has a deep, deep love for those types of games, particularly the now defunct Shining Force series, it's heartwarming to see such a strong return to form, particularly combined with Vanillaware's fantastic 2D art style. I mean, look at those units. Look at them fighting. Look how good they look. No, look at these sprites. Look at these sprites. Whereas the last game, 13 Sentinels, was primarily focused on its story, Unicorn Overlord is focused a lot more strongly on strategy and tactics with a more classic heroic fantasy tale. As a result, Vanillaware has asked me to give you folks a sponsored video that dives a little more deeply into the gameplay systems that you may not be familiar with. Gameplay in Unicorn Overlord is primarily split into 4 sections. The first is the game's narrative, with fully voiced cutscenes peppering gameplay, telling the tale of liberation against the nefarious forces of Emperor Galerius, who has the entire continent under an iron grip. The second is field exploration, where you'll be wandering around the countryside, scouring for materials, upgrading your army, and then repairing and guarding towns that you've successfully liberated. The third is army management, and ties directly into the fourth, strategic battles. The long and short of it is that you are managing your army into small parties of units, who work together on the game's strategic map against the enemy's units and act according to their skills and the way you've set them up. Battles take place on a strategic map similarly to 13 Sentinels, and when units clash, the parties within will auto-battle according to their skills and the tactics that you've laid out for them, to the best of their ability. Luckily, there's an incredibly granular set of conditions and abilities you can manage to get the absolute best out of your army. First up is unit composition, that is, the types of units and their placement within the battlefield. Choosing a unit leader, for example, can decrease wait time between attacks, give the unit the ability to support others from range, or simply increase the unit's overall defenses against magic, physical, or ranged attacks. Next up is ordering and placement. Going up against a bevy of spearmen, for example, can be an issue if you've arranged your units into a column, as their long range is going to pierce through multiple of your units at once. Similarly, thieves and flying units have incredible evasion, which can be fantastic against most of the grounded opponents, but archers with True Strike will simply snipe them with ease. The trick is building units to minimize your weaknesses while maximizing their strengths about your current enemy composition. Let's take this battle from early in the game as an example. This battle pits my army against a large amount of groups containing a new kind of unit called Axe Bearers. These bulky units have a particular strength, being both high HP and doing damage to a full row of enemy units at one time. As a result, some of my existing units don't deal with them particularly well, but I did build one out of a spearman, cavalry, and a fighter. This combination allowed for higher movement speed due to the cavalry, a column-piercing amount of damage from the spearmen, and strong defense from both the fighter and the cavalry. The spearman even heals what little damage I took from these types of encounters, allowing me to clean up most of the stage with impunity. Later on, I encountered a mess of flying units, which some parts of my army had little to no chance of doing damage to. Luckily, I had built another unit group that had a combination of extremely high defense units and an archer, which led to them taking little damage while the archer was able to take out the griffin riders with ease. There's a huge variety of available classes and class combinations for your units, which can lead to a massive possible series of strategies. Personally, I like to focus on types of groups specified for highly specific tasks, like the example shown here, or a third containing my Lord Elaine, which focused on a high evasion front line, nullifying most regular attacks, and a solid defensive back line, which allowed for most enemies to waste their attacks before being struck down. Finally, after all of that, there's tweaking your character's action economy. The closest familiar example I can give is either the Final Fantasy XII Gambit system, or if you're more familiar, the Dragon Age Origins party command system. You're able to specify with incredible specificity how you want individual units to act, such as focusing on using poison attacks on only the highest HP target per battle, or demanding that spearmen who attack in a line override default targeting rules in order to focus down columns of enemies. My personal favorite use of the system was to tell healers to focus on the lowest total HP friendly instead of their default targeting behavior to make sure that units on the ropes stayed in there. But you could tell them to focus on whatever unit had the most total HP, or the least percentage of HP, or those with statuses. Overall, it's an incredibly complex system that allows for careful and intricate setups of your army, while simultaneously keeping large unit battles extremely easy to follow. That being said, there are a few fairly easy tips and tricks that you can follow in the early game to get a head start that I've found during my time with the game so far, mainly about maximizing your unit's strengths by modifying their in-battle behavior. Within a few short hours, you'll have a wide variety of units, first being Elaine, your lord, as well as a thief, several cavalry, a fighter, a hunter, a soldier, and an axe-bearer. Nearly all of them can be tweaked slightly in order to be more effective straight away. So let's take my favorite unit combo that I've been using, Elaine's unit, which is a combination of a lord, a thief, and a housecarl. Elaine has a unique lord ability as leader that allows him to earn more valor and use more specialty moves on the battlefield in the strategic layer. On top of that, Travis the Thief is an excellent dodge tank, nullifying nearly all non-true strike damage. Together, they attack a huge amount of times and do a lot of damage, but you can do better. Early on, you acquire the Viper Fang sword, giving Travis access to Poison Slash. Go into your tactics and make sure to set it to focus on the highest HP target so that you get the most bang for your buck when the poison procs. Following that, make sure that Elaine uses his Lean Edge attack against the lowest HP target to increase the likelihood that he'll recover more HP overall on enemy death. Then assign his guard abilities to the lowest HP targets to make sure that the units that are most likely to die are the most heavily protected when they can be. Make sure Aubin the Housecarl has Smash, which decreases enemy defense, set to prioritize armored and high defense units. This will make sure that he runs into a fight and does his best to try and make Elaine's attacks as effective as he can. Finally, set Parting Blow to the lowest HP you can on the hope that he manages to kill the weakest enemy with one final strike. In the end, you'll have a varied party that dodges most damage, and if it does take damage, can guard against critical health states with Elaine's guard abilities. It poisons high HP enemies, debuffs armored foes, and your most important unit has self-healing to keep it in the fight, powering Valor abilities for the rest of your army. This is just how you can tweak a single unit in order to play to its strengths entirely, and this has been my favorite unit combo thus far. You can do this with almost any combination possible and save the various templates to accommodate different enemy forces. The combinations are practically endless. Personally, I can't wait for the final release coming in just a few short days. Unicorn Overlord is available for pre-order now and will be dropping March 8th on Nintendo Switch, the Xbox Series S and X, PS5, and PS4. There will also be physical copies available for the Nintendo Switch, the Xbox Series X, and PS5. If you can't wait at all, however, there is an absolutely massive demo available right now where your progress will continue into the full version. Thanks again to Vanillaware for sponsoring this video, and I hope you folks are as excited for Unicorn Overlord as I am.
What are you planning to do with me?
I should think you'd already know.
I have no intention of helping you, if that's what you imply.
Your intentions matter not.